So Dan, I think of you as like the adult supervision hired over at Iminlikewithyou. You're 42. Charles Forman, the founder, last I checked, is 28. What's it like being the resident grown-up?
I feel no more or less grown up than any of the other people who work there. A lot of really smart people, Charles included, with a whole bunch of different experience, and people who grew up kind of in a whole video game culture that people like me, we barely grew up in the kind of computer culture. There wasn't even email when I was in college. So, you know, you're making a product that's geared to 15 to 25-year-olds, and so you want people who kind of talk to that sensibility.
Charles has a little bit of a bad boy reputation. You know, we've interviewed him before, but he's known for irreverent comments on Twitter and other platforms. What's it like working with him?
He's actually one of the smartest people I've ever met, and I think his public persona and maybe hides the fact that he works actually really hard on the product, really cares about it, but is funny and irreverent. And there's something about the site, I think, that captures the zeitgeist of his humor, whether the first time I ever checked it out, it said, I think on the front, it's going to be bigger than Jesus and wrestling put together. And I thought a lot of people like Jesus, so that must be pretty big. And there are a lot of other people who do games in the market, and they tend to be a site with games, and they have no personality. And I think aspects of the site that flow out from his personality and his sense of humor are what make kids just see it and really get hooked and identify with it.
Going back to monetization,
yes.
We've talked to Charles before about his ideas, which he picked up in Asia, about selling virtual goods and sort of what I think of as accessories for games. Is that going to continue to be the vision for the business model?
Yeah, we are going to sell virtual goods and subscriptions to the site. I think that it's one of those things that if you understand kind of how kids grow up now and what they're used to buying online, whether it's farmed gold for World of Warcraft or avatars or other things, it's supernatural. You think about it from somebody from my perspective, I didn't grow up kind of buying that stuff. I don't buy it now. But I'm not the target audience for this.
Let's talk about your background. You were at Virgin, and also how did you get to Iminlikewithyou? How did you meet Charles Forman? Who brought you aboard?
So I was at Virgin. I ran all the corporate development for Richard Branson. We looked at a lot of digital stuff. And in that process, I actually met and became friendly with Anthony Volodkin, who runs the Hype Machine, which is an MP3 blog aggregator, and I did a lot of music festivals for Virgin. And one day he said, oh, you should meet this guy, Charles. I know you like games. You'd think this was really interesting. I met him, saw the site and the product, thought it was really interesting, just became slightly friendly with them, and then also ended up friendly with BetaWorks, who's an investor in the company. Over time, talked to them and knew they were looking for someone, and knew that I was looking to do something more entrepreneurial. It got me excited about it, and so I said, hey, I'd be interested in being that guy.